Next up is Saran Ganesh, who's a director of SSI, and many thanks, sir, for being the gold sponsors of this event. Much appreciated. He's got lots of degrees in electrical engineering from California, and at SSI, he's in charge of product marketing. He was previously VP of Mobile Solutions at TNS, and he's going to talk about going beyond surveys. So please welcome Saran Ganesh. All yours, sir.
About 25 minutes going over the topics and how we actually take the mobile data collection methodologies and translate them into a client solutions. These are not case studies, but I wanted to actually go over some of the real-world examples of how we use our mobile data collection to the different industries. And the last 5 minutes, I would love to actually have a question and answers if you guys may want to. All right, let's get to it. So the idea of mobile data collection is based on three things. One, the understanding the behavior on mobile devices and tablets, and also what kind of new mobile data we can capture from mobile and tablets, right? I mean, there are different sensors and different ways to actually collect GPS data we can collect from the mobile devices, et cetera. And also, what is actually we can collect from the mobile in the moment, which is I'm going to be focusing on my real-world example of 4 examples I've actually selected. Anyway, so let's focus on what we can actually do, what we can collect from the devices people use. And there are multiple things that we can collect from mobile devices, like what apps they're using and what sites they're going to, what specific search terms they're using. This particular data collection methodology helped by a so-called passive meter or behavioral meter that's becoming very popular in the industry right now. And there are lots of, I don't want to oversimplify the whole process of passive meter. It's lots of issues that we need to go through, privacy concerns, and because we actually, as a data collection company, we have to make sure that our data we collect from the users are secure and we are not actually sharing with anybody. So there are lots of things that we have to make sure that the data we collect is actually secured and to the highest standard. And then we can also compare the data of what to why. I mean, we obviously can actually ask questions from people, short surveys about what they're doing right now or what they're eating or drinking, and then we can compare that data with the passive data and see are they actually telling the truth or not. There are certain things in mobile we can actually do using the GPS functionality of the mobile. One of them is, I know where you are. We can send a survey, and we can understand what you're doing in the moment, or what you're drinking, or what you're eating, what you're shopping, what you're looking for a specific product at a brick and mortar store, et cetera. So there are lots of ways you can actually augment these different set of information from mobile devices. These are some of the examples that actually I have came across in my previous work at SSI. So there's lots of other ways to actually collect data. And I want to actually spend a little more time on the types of geolocations. When we talk about geolocation, we always talk about in the moment. But there are 3 other varieties of geolocation types. We call it, at least at SSI, is called past, present, future. The past is we can actually target people, specifically the places they went in the last few weeks or 6 months, whatever, because we can actually see where these people are going and what locations they are visiting, et cetera, based on the overlay of GPS coordinates and the point of interest. And the present would be, you know where you are based on the geofence location. if somebody actually break into the geofence, and we get to know, and we can actually send you a survey. There are certain types of in-the-moment geolocation methodologies. One, we can send you a survey, push notification when you cross the geofenced area, or when you enter, exit, or when you actually spend at least X number of minutes within the location. So there are certain types of geolocation targeting you can do based on your needs. And the future, or AKA mystery shopping or missions, that's becoming very popular these days. You ask someone to go to a specific location and take a picture of a shelf or take a picture of a new product and write about it. Are they actually having a proper placement of a new product? So this is kind of very interesting, because I've started seeing a lot of brands are actually coming to us and say, can we do a mission and select a different kind of way of sending people to a particular store or a particular location and ask them their view of how the product are being displayed. For all of, we can have great technology, and every single projects that we do or we've done in the past, technology is an enabler. But the problem happens, or at least I've seen it in the past, is the sample. If you do not have a right profiled or right demographic sample, you're not going to get the right answer. So no data is better than wrong data for brands. Brands are actually spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on finding out their product placement or marketing a particular product. If you don't have a profiled sample that you're going to target or go after, the data you're going to collect is actually going to not be usable. So something to make sure that when we are doing very specific projects like geo-targeting, the samples are the critical part with the technology, obviously. And also, when you're doing an in-the-moment, especially a project, we have done quite a lot in the past. I would always tell people, go nationally. I'm actually from the US, and if we are specifically targeting, I'm picking an example, we want to measure how many people went to a Starbucks at a certain location. If we don't go nationally, we're not going to get that many number of people are going to visit a particular store or particular Starbucks in a state. So I would always recommend, if you guys are looking for in the moment, go nationally. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult. At least I have the emotional scars to prove it with the client projects, but not delivering the actual completes. So something to consider. There are some of the things that I would like to target. When you talk about in-the-moment targeting, there are multiple areas or practice areas that we can actually target. Healthcare is one of the growing things in the US, which I will talk about at the end, and the automotive dealerships, and also the retail. Obviously, you guys know that almost every single company is doing retail targeting or retargeting right now with the mobile devices sending a short survey. So I put together some of the case studies later in the presentation. I will walk you guys through in detail. So we have done, after going through all these projects for the last 5 years or 6 years, and I've heard so many requests, okay, how do we optimize our marketing campaign based on the mobile behavior? How do I influence the path to purchase? How do I retarget people after they've bought something from a retail store? And how do we get the real-time feedback from mobile? People always think, at least the brand folks, think that if you're doing mobile, it has to be real-time, because mobile is mobile, so they expect the real-time data to be delivered. So these are some of the things that clients ask me, okay, if you are doing a mobile project, we should be able to actually able to provide these critical answers to these some of the questions. So the next slide, I wanted to actually spend a little time. The reason I picked all four topics is the retail targeting is a common example of using in the moment survey. And also travel and tourism is something that's actually very interesting to me because that's a natural way of targeting mobile users while they're traveling or pre-travel or post-travel. And also the patient tracking system, and it's becoming very popular in the US. And also how a brand can optimize their mobile campaign based on the user behavior on the tablet and mobile phones. So let's take the first topic, retail targeting. The retail targeting actually, it's a big topic. I mean, there are multiple technologies, beacon technologies and NFCs and QR codes and all those kind of things. But the way I see it, the retail targeting is how do you actually understand what people are going through while they're shopping? Even though we say in the moment, it's very unlikely people are going to actually take a survey while they're shopping. I mean, honestly, I'm not going to actually put my stuff down and start taking the survey. So the truth is you are getting closer to the moment, which have less recall issues, and we believe that the people are going to answer truthfully when they go home and take the survey, even though we call it in the moment. So there are multiple ways we can actually enable this retail targeting, like target physical stores and get the GPS coordinates. When you say GPS coordinates, you were not able to actually convert the postal address to a GPS coordinates because that might be in the parking lot of the store. So you have to make sure that you are doing a rooftop coordinates and tagging them and with the enough radius that people can actually able to come and go. And some of the products you can do, what sort of product testing you can do, and are they actually properly placed? Our salespeople are helping you to purchase a brand A versus brand B, because my previous job at Best Buy, we are actually incentivized to actually promote different brands within the store. So you can understand how that affect your brand product placement within your retail store. So there are lots of different information you can actually get and understand if you're asking in the moment. And I gave some of the examples, identify purchase behaviors and satisfaction. Are they satisfied with the purchase? And uncover shorming behaviors. Are they looking for different price points? Are they actually taking Amazon application and looking for a cheaper price in a store? I mean, I do that all the time. I go to a store and I scan a product barcode and get a best price possible. So these are some of the things you can actually understand by asking them specific questions while they are shopping or when they just exit the store. And the next item is, this is interesting because this is going to cover passive metering or behavioral metering and the active survey. So when I talked about at the beginning of the presentation, the passive meter, if you actually, if a respondent or a customer actually have a passive meter installed, we can pretty much actually measure what apps and sites they are actually going to visiting, how long they're using the specific app, how long they're actually visiting specific site, and what search terms they're using. So you can pretty much understand what user behavior in a very intimate way from the passive meter data collection. So for a brand A, want to actually target a specific demographic based on app activity, or Facebook wants to actually promote their ad, they know, they can understand what time of the day or how many times this person is actually using the specific app during the day or evening or night. So it's kind of a creating a day in the life of idea of a persona, so to speak. And also identify the competitor apps. For example, if a Box or iCloud or Google Drive wants to know what other competitors are actually doing with the brands or the apps. So it's kind of a measurement tool that you can have and compare to what your app versus the competitor apps. And also the in the moment, and you can actually pretty much tag a specific location or a store and ask them a very specific question to, are you purchasing a particular product, etc. So, I mean, we have done, I come from the mobile marketing world, and we always look for, we create these very sexy marketing campaigns. We actually often don't look at it, what these things are. So I wish I knew about this before, but now we have the technology, so we can actually do an optimized campaign to promote their brands and the reach. And the travel and tourism, this is something that's very interesting because people more and more using mobile phones and tablets to actually do research pre, post, and while on travel. People are actually probably using mobile phones to do search or look for a better deal on a mobile, and they ended up buying or booking a particular deal or a ticket or a cruise on a tablet. So we want to know how people are actually using the mobile phones, and more the like Orbitz or Travelocity and many other booking apps. It's popping Kayak. It's becoming very popular, and they are specifically, I don't know whether you saw that they are actually tailoring specific rates for mobile users now based on the usage. So if you open a Kayak app on a PC or a mobile, they have a specific ad actually a rate triggered towards actually the mobile user. So there's more and more people actually moving their marketing dollar into mobile phones, so the optimization is needed. And we also want to know how people are using the mobile phones while they're traveling. Are they actually looking for specific restaurants? Are they using Yelp? And what sort of click to call they are actually using? Are they looking to make a reservation, etc.? So there's lots of different ways we can measure mobile usage using mobile. And the last one is it's very interesting, and it's becoming very popular in the U.S., especially after the Affordable Care Act, so-called Obamacare, became getting rolled out right now. So in the past, the medical industry or the patient care is based on the fee for service. You go to the doctor, you get paid. You get the service, and doctors get paid. But now there is a memorandum from the Obamacare. Part of the Obamacare was you have to actually have the quality care, and you have to have a satisfaction survey done from the doctor before the federal government actually can pay to the doctor's office or facility. So, this is a right example for mobile tracking. In the moment, the patients are actually in the facility, or CT scan or MR scan, and you'll get the answer if the facility is actually making sure that you get the good quality care, or are you satisfied with your actual care, and will you recommend the doctor to a friend. There are lots of different ways you can get in the moment information from different people or different doctors, nurses, billing issues, that sort of thing. So to end my presentation, and I will definitely like to have some questions answered, mobile is moving towards a very, very interesting path, and more, we actually ask people to do surveys. And when I started my career 15 years ago, I've heard this term, content is a king in the internet world. Still are. But I would say the mobile world, the quality sample, or the quality profiled sampling technology is the king to get the right answers from the right people. And we have seen data, proven data from SSI that, okay, the people have from poor panel, data from poor panel, and the data from the quality panel, profile panel, the difference is so big. And I know it's sometimes expensive to actually get a quality profile people, but if you want to get a right information or quality information, it's you have to have a right profiled sample folks in your part of your campaign. So I would like to answer any of your questions if you guys have. Please go for it.
Great. Beware of criticizing hotels on TripAdvisor. There was a case in the United Kingdom of somebody wrote a lousy report on a dreadful hotel. The hotel owner, 2 weeks later, deducted £100 from their credit card for writing and rubbishing that hotel. Yes, sir.
He got
Questions?
fined.
Huh?
He got fined.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. Please say your name and where you're from. Questions, please. Do we have ethical problems in terms of tracking people?
We do and we don't. It depends on how your privacy concern in terms and condition. Our legal department, SSI, we go through a very, very detailed legal review of every respondent we actually sign up. And we have disclaimers, and we're actually rolling out to different countries. So we are very careful about our data, PII information that we collect, and we are very proud of that, and because they're trusting us, so we have to actually make sure that the data is secured, and we keep it to ourselves. So yeah.
Yes, over there.
Peter Harris from Vision Critical. So very interesting, lots of different sectors that this could be applicable for. I guess, are there sectors that you see are going to be kind of easier to get kind of scale in, and it links to the kind of ethical question as well, you know, in kind of patient tracking versus other ways of using this?
Correct. There are other industries that, you know, at least I've experienced in automotive is one of the actually main sector that we actually did a lot of work, geo-targeting. And if you answer my question, the patient tracking is very, very, very tricky. And what we are doing right now is actually not having people install a passive meter on the devices. We are just asking them, sending them a survey to understand the quality of service. It's actually independent of mobile passive meter. And we also have B2B panel that we can actually go after doctors, and we can compare the doctors actually, the recommendation versus the patients. So there are lots of HIPAA violations, and we have to be very careful of what we're actually tracking. So it's very critical. Yeah.
Yes, over here.
Yes, Wanda Meyer from Emirates in Hong Kong. Lots of your examples, very good examples, are from the United States. In Asia, it has been traditionally quite difficult to download passive meters in panels.
Yes.
Have you any experience with that, and any ways of how we've overcome these obstacles, or how you think to overcome these obstacles?
Good question. We are actually in the process of rolling out this in the Asia. We haven't done it yet. I personally don't have any experience rolling out a passive meter in Asia. But I do tell you, though, the simplest way for any panel companies to actually roll out a passive meter within the panel is actually using SDK. Asking them to install a new application to track the usage behavior is actually going to have a massive drop-off, and turning them on with the passive meter technology using SDK is a lot better. Because the difference between using the SDK technology and the real application technology is SDK, you just do it in the background, and the application will get updated, and you'll get a pop-up saying that are you agreeing to the terms and condition and privacy policy? And you have to be, of course, make sure that you lay out all the information that you're collecting. But in order to avoid the drop-off rates of the panelists, I would strongly recommend to use the SDK route rather than asking them to install another app.
I have one question here. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Kelvin from IDNQ from Korea. And it was a very interesting presentation, and I have a question about the retrieving the geolocation of panelists, because it is really hard to persuade panelists to turn on the location-based data providing for real time, because it drains battery a lot. And as Dan Furman cited before, we charge battery several times a day. So what kind of challenge did you had, and what was the solution for that retrieving the real-time location?
Very good question. So we've gone through the same pain. Half of the people don't actually turn on the location services. So what we have is we have a constant notification reminder enabled. For example, if you install an app and you decided not to click OK for GPS triggers, we will know that person is actually disabled that particular feature on the app. So we can keep on pinging and what kind of surveys you're missing by not turning on the GPS location. So they will always get a notification on the app saying that if you decided to turn on the GPS, go for it. So it's keep on reminding them. I mean, some people, they don't want to. They don't want to get tracked. But we've seen quite a bit of actually uptick by keep on reminding them whether these people actually turn on the GPS functionality.
One more question, please.
Hi, excuse me, James Ferguson from MDI. I was a bit surprised by your comment about not being able to do in-the-moment research in retail stores. I agree you can't ask a 30-minute questionnaire or survey in a retail store, but we've got 10,000 people running around in South Africa doing in-the-moment research in QSRs and also retailers, but it's one or two questions that we then append back to their key demographics and psychographics. So the key is you've got to change the way you do things.
Correct.
But certainly the big opportunity with mobile is in the moment at point of sale.
Correct. So the definition of the in the moment, we think, at least from our perspective, is somebody in the store, they get a survey and they will answer right away while they're shopping. The probability, at least we did a lot of research, at least 40% of the people actually, they did receive the SMS or the survey notification, and they actually don't answer right away. Either they answer 15 minutes after they left the store, but it kind of in the moment is kind of a very, very vague term. But yes, you're right. I mean, mobile is in the moment. That's why we're going to use the mobile, because you carry with them everywhere you go. But the probability of a person answering a survey while they're shopping for something is kind of unlikely. I mean, they're doing it, but you cannot have a 100% completion rate in the moment. Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. I think the lesson is location, location, location. A terrible TV program.
Thank you.
Thank you.